Are you deaf or just stupid? Haleema Morcos froze in the corridor of the 47th floor, the thermal bag cutting into her shoulders. The executive in the charcoal suit didn't wait for an answer. He jabbed his finger toward the glass conference room door. The pizza was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. Can't you people do anything right? Haleema felt the familiar burn creep up her neck. At 28, she'd learned to swallow insults with her pride. But today felt different. The air at Harrison and Burke crackled with something electric. Assistants sprinted past her. Phones screamed from every direction. Somewhere close by, a woman's voice was breaking. "I'm sorry, sir. There was an issue with... I don't care." He cut through her words like scissors through paper. "Leave the food and get out." Haleema adjusted her red cap, her long braids brushing against the thermal bag as she lowered her gaze and pushed through the conference room door. What she saw inside made her breath catch. A mahogany table drowning in panicked executives, documents scattered like casualties, a massive screen bleeding red numbers, and at the center of the chaos stood a blonde woman in a tailored navy suit, her voice raw as she shouted into a phone. "I don't care if Kareem is unconscious in the ICU. The call with Dubai starts in 12 minutes. If we lose this contract, we lose the entire firm." Haleema recognized her instantly. Mona M. Davis, founding partner. Her face smiled from every Forbes cover Haleema had studied during slow shifts at the pizzeria. "Excuse me," Haleema whispered, sliding the pizza boxes onto the credenza. No one turned. No one saw her. She was a ghost in a red uniform. "Does anyone here speak Arabic?" Mona's voice cracked with desperation. "Anyone? Even basic conversational Arabic?" Silence swallowed the room. "Hamza Jalal only conducts business in formal Arabic. You know this. We've spent 8 months building this relationship, and our only translator just..." The phone erupted. The ringtone sliced through the air like a blade through silk. An executive went pale. "It's them. Dubai is calling." Mona M. Davis closed her eyes. When she opened them, Haleema saw something she never expected to see on the face of someone so powerful. Fear. Raw, unfiltered fear. The phone kept ringing. Haleema looked at the door. She should leave. This wasn't her world. These weren't her people. But then she heard it, a voice from the speakerphone, angry, formal, beautiful. The voice was speaking her grandmother's language, and Haleema Morcos realized she was the only person in this glass tower who understood every single word. The phone rang 3 more times before Mona M. Davis found the courage to answer. Her hand trembled as she reached for the conference room speakerphone. Around the table, 7 executives held their breath. The youngest associate, a Harvard grad who'd never seen his boss sweat, watched a bead of perspiration roll down Mona's temple. "Mr. Jalal," Mona said, her voice steady despite the earthquake in her chest. "Good afternoon. We're so pleased to..." The response came in rapid-fire Arabic, formal, clipped, angry. Mona's face drained of color. She understood exactly 3 words: contract, respect, and what she thought might be goodbye. "Sir, if you could just give us 1 moment..." She switched to English, grasping at straws. More Arabic, louder this time. The voice on the other end wasn't yelling, but the disappointment cut deeper than any shout could. Mona pressed mute. "Someone tell me what he's saying. Anyone." The executive in the charcoal suit, the same one who'd dismissed Haleema in the hallway, cleared his throat. "I took a semester of Arabic at Princeton. I think he's asking about Kareem, our translator." "You think?" Mona's voice cracked. "We're about to lose $100 million and you think?" She unmuted. "Mr. Jalal, our colleague Kareem had a medical emergency, but we have arranged for..." The line went silent. For 5 seconds, no one breathed. Then Hamza Jalal spoke again. This time, his words came slower, each syllable weighted with finality. Mona looked at her team. "What did he say?" The Princeton graduate shook his head. I don't know. That wasn't conversational Arabic. That was classical. But formal." "Then find someone who does know." Mona slammed her palm on the table. "Call every translation service in New York. Call Columbia. Call NYU. Call." "There's no time," said the CFO, pointing at his watch. "We have maybe 90 seconds before he hangs up." "Maybe." Mona stared at the speakerphone like it was a bomb. 8 months of work, dozens of flights to Dubai, hundreds of hours of cultural research, her entire firm's reputation, all of it balanced on a phone call she couldn't understand. She thought about her father, who'd built this company from nothing, about the 30 employees downstairs who had no idea their jobs hung by a thread, about the partners who'd bet everything on this deal. "Mr. Jalal," she said into the phone, her voice barely above a whisper, "please, just give us a chance to—" Click. The line didn't go dead. But the silence on the other end felt like a casket closing. Mona M. Davis, the woman who'd negotiated with Fortune 500 CEOs, who'd closed deals in London and Singapore, who'd never lost a contract worth more than $10 million, stood frozen in her navy suit. And behind her, unnoticed by everyone in the room, Haleema Morcos set down the last pizza box and heard her grandmother's voice in her head. "Habibti, when they don't see you, that's when you have the most power." The phone crackled. Hamza Jalal was still there, waiting, but waiting for what? Haleema's grandmother used to say that silence had a texture. As a child, she never understood what Lina meant, but standing in that conference room, invisible in her red uniform, she could feel it. The silence was thick as honey, sticky with desperation. The Princeton graduate leaned toward the speakerphone. He cleared his throat twice. "Assalamu alaik, no, alai." Haleema's jaw tightened. He was butchering it. The greeting wasn't just words. It was respect, protocol, the entire foundation of formal Arab business culture. Her grandmother would have wept hearing it murdered like that. "Assalamu alaikum," the man tried again, his American accent turning the phrase into something unrecognizable. From the speakerphone came a sharp exhale. Then Hamza Jalal spoke, his voice colder than before. Haleema understood every word. "You send me a child who cannot even greet me properly? Is this how Harrison and Burke shows respect?" Mona's eyes darted around the table. "What did he say? Did that help?" I think he's asking about respect." The Princeton graduate's confidence crumbled. No, Haleema thought. He's not asking. He's leaving. She should walk away. She'd delivered the pizza, done her job. These people had treated her like furniture, like she was too stupid to understand English, let alone Arabic. The man in the charcoal suit hadn't even looked at her face when he insulted her. But Hamza Jalal's voice, formal, dignified, hurt, reminded her of every family gathering where her grandmother held court, where language wasn't just communication, but art, where every syllable carried generations of meaning. Haleema's fingers tightened around the empty pizza bag. Her grandmother had died 3 months ago, died in a cramped apartment with peeling wallpaper, while the grandson of the family she'd once saved lived in a Dubai penthouse. Died after teaching Haleema every grammatical rule, every cultural nuance, every subtle shift in dialect that separated the fluent from the native. "Try the formal business greeting," Mona hissed at the Princeton graduate, "the one Kareem taught us." The man fumbled with his phone, scrolling through notes. Okay. Tasharaf, Tasharafna, Haleema whispered. No one heard her. The executive tried again. Tasharaf, Tishafarna. Stop. The word left Haleema's mouth before her brain could stop it. 7 heads turned. For the first time since she'd entered the room, they saw her. The man in the charcoal suit blinked. "Excuse me?" Haleema's heart hammered against her ribs. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. "They only see you when you make them see you, Habibti." She stepped forward, her pizza bag still clutched in her hands. "You're saying it wrong, all of it. The pronunciation, the tone, She stopped, watching their faces shift from confusion to something between shock and offense. Mona M. Davis stared at her. "What did you say?" From the speakerphone, Hamza Jalal's voice came again, impatient now, final. He was 10 seconds from hanging up. Haleema looked at the phone, then at Mona, then at the door she could still walk through. Her grandmother had spent 40 years in America being invisible, cleaning houses, raising children, teaching Arabic to grandchildren who might never use it. And she died invisible. Haleema took a breath. "I speak Arabic," she said, fluently. The room exploded. The room didn't just go quiet, it went dead. 7 executives stared at Haleema like she'd announced she could fly. The woman in the red uniform, the one who'd been invisible 30 seconds ago, the one who couldn't even deliver pizza on time. The man in the charcoal suit laughed first, a short, sharp bark. You speak Arabic. It wasn't a question, it was mockery wrapped in disbelief. Yes. Haleema's voice didn't shake. Her grandmother had taught her that much. When you speak truth, you speak it with your spine straight. Arabic, he repeated, looking at Mona like this was an elaborate joke. The pizza delivery girl speaks Arabic. Fluently, Haleema added. Her knuckles were white around the thermal bag strap. From the speakerphone, Hamza Jalal's voice cut through the tension. Another sentence in classical Arabic, formal, fading. Mona's eyes snapped between Haleema and the phone. What did he just say? He said he's wasted enough time with people who don't respect his language or his culture, Haleema translated. He's about to hang up. The CFO leaned forward. How do we know you actually speak? Tasharafna bi marifatikum, Haleema said, her voice suddenly fluid, musical. The words rolled off her tongue like water over stones. It means, we are honored to make your acquaintance. That's what your Princeton graduate was trying to say, but he was pronouncing it like a tourist ordering hummus. The Princeton graduate's face flushed crimson. Mona stood frozen, her hand halfway to the phone. This is insane. What's insane? Haleema said, surprising herself with her own boldness. Let is that you're about to lose $100 million because none of you bothered to learn the language of your biggest client. What's insane is that I've been standing here for 5 minutes and you didn't even ask my name. The man in the charcoal suit stepped toward her. Listen, I don't know what you think you're... Her name. The voice came from the corner of the room. A younger woman, an associate, spoke softly. What's your name? Haleema looked at her. For the first time since entering this glass tower, someone had asked her a human question. Haleema Morcos. Morcos? Mona's eyes narrowed. That's not... Where are you from? Queens. But my grandmother was from Morocco. She taught me Arabic before she taught me English. Classical Arabic, Moroccan dialect, Egyptian, Gulf Arabic. She was a teacher in Casablanca before... Haleema stopped. They didn't need her family history. I can speak to Mr. Jalal in the dialect he's expecting, with the respect he deserves. Another sound from the speakerphone, a word in Arabic, final. He's saying goodbye, Haleema said. Mona's hand slammed onto the table. Wait, everyone shut up, just shut up. She looked at Haleema, really looked at her for the first time. Her eyes swept over the red uniform, the braids, the thermal bag. Can you really do this? Haleema thought about her overdue rent, about her grandmother's funeral she'd paid for on credit cards, about the 3 times she'd applied to this very company with her college degree and impeccable language skills and gotten nothing back, not even a rejection email. She thought about Hamza Jalal, a man who understood that language was respect, and respect was everything. Yes, Haleema said, I can save your deal. Mona grabbed the phone. Mr. Jalal, please hold. We have someone here who... She stopped, her hand shaking. She looked at Haleema. What do I say? Nothing, Haleema said. Let me talk to him. The room held its breath. Haleema stepped toward the speakerphone. Wait! The man in the charcoal suit blocked Haleema's path to the speakerphone. You're not touching that phone until we verify you know what you're doing. Mona's eyes flickered with doubt. He's right. If you mess this up, you'll lose everything, Haleema finished. I know. The CFO grabbed a leather portfolio from the table. Fine, let's test her. We have the contract terms right here. Technical language, financial jargon. If she can translate these, maybe... Haleema's laugh came out bitter. 40 seconds ago, I was too stupid to deliver pizza. Now I need to audition? $40 million is on the line, Mona said. You want us to trust you? Prove it. The room closed in around her. 7 faces, 7 judges. This was the interview she'd never gotten when she submitted her resume. This was the test they'd never given her a chance to take. From the speakerphone, Hamza's voice came again, quieter now, almost gone. Financial derivatives, the CFO barked. How do you say it? Al-Mushtagat al-Maliyah, Haleema answered without hesitation. Equity capital structure. Haikal Raz al-Mal al-Hissasi. Due diligence. Al-Inaya al-Lazima. Haleema's voice was steady, but her heart was racing. Are we done? The Princeton graduate stepped forward, his phone in hand. Wait, here's a phrase in classical Arabic. Tell me what it means. He showed her the screen. Haleema read it and almost smiled. That's not classical Arabic. That's Google Translate Arabic. It says, "The papers of money have wings to fly." What you actually want is a Maliyat al-Tamwil, financing operations. A junior associate whispered, "She's good." "She's untested," the charcoal suit countered. "This isn't about vocabulary, it's about culture. Mr. Jalal doesn't just want translation, he wants someone who understands adab, etiquette, protocol. One wrong word, one cultural misstep, and you lose the deal," Haleema said. "I know what adab means. My grandmother built her entire life on it. In Arab business culture, how you say something matters more than what you say. Trust, wasta, is everything. You can't negotiate a contract without first building a relationship. Mr. Jalal isn't angry because your translator's in the hospital. He's angry because you've shown him disrespect. You've treated his language like an obstacle instead of a bridge." The room went quiet. Mona stared at her. "How do you know all this?" "Because my grandmother taught me. Before she died, cleaning houses for people who never learned her name." The words hung in the air like smoke. From the phone, Hamza Jalal spoke one final time. The line beeped. He was ending the call. "That's it," the CFO whispered. "He's gone." But Haleema heard something the others didn't. The beep wasn't a disconnection. It was a tone, a specific tone used in Gulf phone systems. He was putting them on a timer. "He's giving you one last chance," Haleema said. 60 seconds, maybe less. Mona looked at her team, then at Haleema, then at the phone. The math was simple. Trust the pizza girl or lose everything. "What do you want?" Mona asked. Excuse me? "If you do this, if you save this deal, what do you want?" Haleema thought about her student loans, about her grandmother's grave with the misspelled headstone she couldn't afford to fix, not about the 3 rejection emails that never came because this company never even opened her applications. "We can talk about that after I save your company," Haleema said. She walked to the phone. "But right now, everyone needs to be completely silent. In Arab culture, having multiple voices on a business call is disrespectful. One voice, one representative, that's me now." She reached for the phone. Behind her, 7 executives held their breath, and Haleema Morcos asked herself the question that would change everything. Why am I helping people who treated me like I was invisible? Because her grandmother would have. Because respect should be given even when it isn't received. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show someone what they almost threw away. She pressed the button. "Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh," Haleema began, her voice carrying 40 years of her grandmother's teachings. "Mr. Jalal, my name is Haleema Morcos, and I owe you an apology on behalf of Harrison and Burke." The line crackled. Then Hamza Jalal spoke, and this time he wasn't leaving. Haleema's grandmother used to say that Arabic wasn't just a language, it was music. Each word a note, each sentence a melody. The difference between good Arabic and beautiful Arabic was the difference between hearing a song and feeling it in your bones. "Tasharafna bi ma'rifatikum, ya Sayyid Jalal," Haleema continued, her voice finding the rhythm Lina had drilled into her since childhood. "We are honored by your acquaintance, and we are ashamed by the disrespect shown to you today." The line crackled. Then Hamza Jalal spoke. "Who is this?" His voice had changed, still formal, but the anger had shifted to curiosity. "My name is Haleema Morcos. I am not an employee of this company. I am a translator who has been asked to convey both their words and their sincere regret." Around the table, the executives leaned forward, trying to decode the foreign sounds. Mona's eyes were locked on Haleema, watching every gesture, every inflection. "Morcos," Hamza repeated. "That is an interesting name. Where is your family from?" "My grandmother was from Casablanca. She taught me that language is the first form of respect between strangers." Haleema closed her eyes, and suddenly she wasn't in a glass tower anymore. She was 8 years old, sitting at her grandmother's kitchen table in Queens, learning the difference between Habibi and Habibti. She was 12, reciting poetry until her accent disappeared. She was 16, arguing politics in flawless Moroccan dialect, while her grandmother smiled with pride. "Your grandmother taught you well," Hamza said. "Your pronunciation is exceptional, not like the others." "The others were not taught by Haleema Morcos." There was a pause on the line. A long pause. Haleema's heart hammered against her ribs. "Lina," Hamza whispered. "Haleema Morcos." "Yes, sir, that was her name." Subhanallah. The words came out like a prayer. You are Lina's granddaughter. Haleema opened her eyes. The executives were staring at her, completely lost. Mona made a gesture. What's happening? But Haleema couldn't stop to translate. Something had shifted in Hamza's voice, something profound. I am, Haleema said. She passed 3 months ago. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, Hamza said softly. The traditional words of mourning. To God we belong, and to him we return. Your grandmother was a remarkable woman. You knew her? Knew her, Hamza's voice broke. She saved my family. The conference room disappeared. Time collapsed. Haleema gripped the edge of the table. In 1982, Hamza continued, my father brought us to America with nothing. We were refugees from Lebanon. Your grandmother taught us English for free. She helped my mother find work. She brought us food when we had none. For 2 years, Haleema Morcos was the only reason we survived. Tears burned Haleema's eyes. Her grandmother had never mentioned a Lebanese family, never mentioned refugees. There were so many stories Lina had taken to her grave. Mr. Jalal, Haleema said, her voice thick, I did not know. How could you? Your grandmother never spoke of her good deeds. That was her way. He paused. Haleema, why are you translating for a pizza company? You should be leading international corporations. Haleema glanced at the executives, at their expensive suits, at the man in charcoal who'd called her stupid. Sometimes the world does not see us until it needs us, she said quietly. Then let me see you now, Hamza said. Tell these people at Harrison and Burke that I will sign their contract, but only on one condition. Haleema's breath caught. What condition? You, Haleema Morcos, granddaughter of the woman who saved my family, you will be the voice of every communication between my company and theirs. You will lead this relationship, not as a translator, as a partner. The room spun. Mr. Jalal, I am not... You are Lina's blood. That's enough for me. His voice hardened with finality. Tell them these terms are non-negotiable. You, Haleema, or no deal. Haleema looked at Mona M. and Davis, at the woman who'd never opened her 3 applications, at the company that had made her invisible, and she smiled. I will tell them, Haleema said. She pressed mute and turned to face 7 stunned executives. He'll sign the contract, Haleema said, on one condition. What? Mona's voice was barely a whisper. What does he want? Me, Haleema said. He wants me. The executives erupted. Questions flew across the conference room like bullets. But Haleema raised her hand, silencing them. Hamza was still speaking, and she needed to hear every word. She unmuted the phone. Mr. Jalal, please, Haleema said. You mentioned my grandmother saved your family. I need to understand. She never told me the story. Of course she didn't, Hamza said, his voice softening with memory. Lina never spoke of her kindness. But I will tell you, Haleema, you deserve to know who your grandmother really was. Haleema sank into the nearest chair, her legs suddenly unable to hold her. The executives watched in confused silence. It was 1982. I was 7 years old, Hamza began. My father moved us from Beirut to Detroit. The Civil War had destroyed everything we owned. Yet we arrived in America with 2 suitcases and $17. My father spoke no English. My mother spoke none. I spoke none. We were invisible. Haleema's throat tightened. Invisible. The same word she'd used to describe herself. We lived in a basement apartment near 6 Mile Road. 3 families sharing 1 bathroom. My father worked 3 jobs, gas station, car wash, restaurant, kitchen, but we were drowning. The rent was too high. The food was too expensive. And without English, we could not fight back when employers cheated us. How did you meet my grandmother? Haleema asked. At the masjid, the mosque on Schaefer Road. Hamza's voice carried the weight of decades. Your grandmother was there teaching English to immigrant women, free classes, every Tuesday and Thursday night. My mother went because she was desperate. She needed to speak to doctors, to teachers, to landlords. Haleema closed her eyes. She could see it. Her grandmother in a classroom, patient and warm, teaching women the language that would become their survival. But Lina saw something others didn't, Hamza continued. She saw that my mother wasn't just struggling with English, she was struggling with everything. So Lina came to our apartment. She brought groceries. She brought her own children's old clothes for me and my brothers. She spent hours teaching my father workplace English so he wouldn't be cheated anymore. For how long? Haleema whispered. 2 years. Every week Haleema Morcos came to our terrible basement and treated us like we mattered, like we were worth her time. His voice cracked. When my father finally got a real job, a job with benefits, with respect, it was because Lina had called the manager herself. She vouched for him. A Moroccan woman vouching for a Lebanese man in Detroit. Do you understand what that meant? She saw you, Haleema said. Yes, she saw us when the rest of America looked through us like we were ghosts. Hamza paused. 10 years later, my father started his first business. 20 years later, I inherited his company. 30 years later, I am the man your grandmother's kindness created. Everything I have, every dollar, every success, began in that basement apartment with Haleema Morcos teaching my mother how to say please and thank you. Tears streamed down Haleema's face. The executive shifted uncomfortably, not understanding the Arabic words, but feeling the emotion saturating the air. Mr. Jalal, Haleema managed. She died in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens. She died cleaning other people's houses. She died with nothing. No, Hamza said firmly. She died with everything. She died with honor. She died knowing she had planted seeds in people like me. Like you. He paused. I tried to find her. 5 years ago, when I built my first tower in Dubai, I hired investigators to locate the Morcos family. I wanted to repay the debt. I wanted to bring her to Dubai to show her what her kindness had built. But the investigators found nothing. She kept to herself, Haleema said. She didn't want to be found. And now God has brought her granddaughter to me instead. Hamza's voice filled with conviction. This is not coincidence, Haleema. This is Qadar, destiny. Your grandmother's legacy will not die in poverty. Not while I live. Haleema looked up at Mona M. Davis, at the woman whose company had rejected her 3 times. What do you want me to tell them? Haleema asked. Tell them, Hamza said, that the debt I owe Haleema Morcos can never be repaid, but hiring her granddaughter is where I begin. Haleema switched to English. Her voice was steady now, strong. Mr. Jalal will sign the contract, she announced to the room, but I'm no longer negotiable. I'm mandatory. The man in the charcoal suit stepped forward. Absolutely not. We can't make hiring decisions based on... Based on what? Mona cut him off, her eyes never leaving Haleema. Based on the fact that she just saved a $100 million deal none of us could save? She's a pizza delivery worker, he hissed. She has no credentials, no corporate experience, no... She has the only credential that matters right now, Mona said. Hamza Jalal trusts her. Haleema stood, still holding the phone. He's still on the line. He can hear you arguing. The room froze. Haleema unmuted. Mr. Jalal, they are discussing your terms. I heard them, Hamza said, his voice cold again. Tell the man in the expensive suit that credentials are not the same as competence, and tell the woman, Mona, is it, that she has 60 seconds to accept my terms, or I will take my $100 million to Berlin. They have better manners there, Haleema translated, her voice steady. Mr. Jalal says you have 1 minute to decide. After that, he's moving the contract to Berlin. The CFO grabbed Mona's arm. We can negotiate. We can offer him... There is no negotiation, Hamza interrupted in English. His accent was perfect, British educated. I understood every word you people said about my translator being just a pizza girl. I speak 7 languages. I always listen before I speak. The executive's faces drained of color. He'd understood everything, every insult, every dismissal. Hamza switched back to Arabic. Haleema, tell them this. I do not need their company. They need mine. I am offering them not just a contract, but a bridge to the entire Gulf market. But that bridge must be built on trust, and I trust only one person in that room. You. Haleema translated, then added, He wants me as Director of International Communications, not translator, not consultant, full director position with authority over all Gulf client relationships. That's insane, the Princeton graduate said. She doesn't even... 40 seconds, Hamza said in English. Mona looked at her team, at the red graphs on the screen, at the quarterly reports showing 3 consecutive losing quarters. This deal wasn't just about money, it was about survival. What else? Mona asked Haleema. What else does he want? Haleema listened as Hamza continued. Tell them I want you to travel to Dubai within 2 weeks. You will meet my executive team, you will learn our portfolio, You will become the voice of Harrison and Burke in every market where Arabic matters: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Egypt, Morocco. He wants me in Dubai in 2 weeks, Haleema translated. He wants me to be the company's voice in every Arabic-speaking market. The CFO pulled out his calculator. If we lost those markets, that's not just this deal. That's future deals. That could be $500 million in potential contracts over 5 years. 20 seconds, Hamza said. Mona stared at Haleema, really looked at her. The red uniform, the thermal bag still hanging from her shoulder, the braids, the face she'd walked past 1,000 times in this building without seeing. How much do you make delivering pizza? Mona asked. $32,000 a year, Haleema said, before taxes. 10 seconds, Hamza said. Mona made her decision. Haleema Morcos, effective immediately. You are Director of International Communications at Harrison and Burke. Salary to be negotiated, full benefits, company car, and a formal apology from every person in this room. The man in the charcoal suit opened his mouth to protest. Starting with you, Mona snapped at him. Apologize, now. He looked at Haleema, at the woman he'd called stupid. His face twisted, but he spoke. I apologize. Louder, Hamza said in English, and mean it. I apologize, the man said again, louder this time. I was wrong. Haleema unmuted the phone. Mr. Jalal, they have accepted your terms. Good, Hamza said. Now put Mona on the phone. We have a contract to finalize. But Haleema? Yes? Your grandmother would be very proud. Haleema's vision blurred with tears. She handed the phone to Mona, then walked to the window. Below her, New York City stretched out like a promise. 47 floors down, delivery drivers rushed through traffic, invisible to everyone. But Haleema Morcos was invisible no more. She pulled out her phone and opened her photos. Her grandmother's face smiled back at her, taken 3 weeks before she died, still beautiful, still proud. I did it, City, Haleema whispered. I made them see me. Behind her, Mona was speaking to Hamza in stilted English, closing the deal that would save her company. And in front of her, the city that had tried to erase her now stretched out at her feet. The contract took 40 minutes to finalize. Hamza spoke. Mona agreed. The CFO scribbled notes. The Princeton graduate printed documents. And through it all, Haleema stood by the window, watching the city breathe below her. When the call finally ended, Mona exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for a year. It's done, she said to the room. We're saved. The executives erupted in relieved chatter. Someone mentioned champagne. Someone else started calculating bonuses. But Mona walked straight to Haleema. We need to talk, Mona said. My office, now. Haleema followed her down the corridor, past assistants who stared at the woman in the red uniform walking beside their boss, past the break room where someone was reheating pizza, the same pizza Haleema had delivered an hour ago, though it felt like a lifetime. Mona's office was glass and steel overlooking the Hudson River. She gestured to a leather chair across from her desk. Sit. Haleema sat, her thermal bag finally sliding off her shoulder onto the floor. Mona poured 2 glasses of water from a crystal pitcher. I meant what I said. Director of International Communications, 6-figure salary, benefits, the works. She slid a glass across the desk. We'll draw up a contract by tomorrow, but I need to know, are you really qualified for this? Beyond speaking Arabic, what's your actual background? Haleema took a sip of water. It tasted expensive. I have a bachelor's degree in international relations from CUNY, minor in Middle Eastern studies. I spent a semester abroad in Cairo. I'm fluent in 4 dialects of Arabic plus French and English. I've done freelance translation for the UN Refugee Services, and I graduated summa cum laude. Mona blinked. Then why are you delivering pizza? Because I applied here 3 times, Haleema said quietly, and you never even sent me a rejection letter. The words hung in the air like smoke from a gun. Mona's face went pale. What? Harrison and Burke. I applied 3 times over the past 2 years. Haleema pulled out her phone, scrolling through old emails. October 2023, Junior International Relations Associate. March 2024, Middle East Business Consultant. September 2024, Communications Coordinator for Gulf Markets. She looked up. I never heard back. Not once. Mona took the phone, reading the applications. Her hand trembled slightly. These are And these are exactly what we needed. Your qualifications are perfect. Why didn't anyone... She stopped, her eyes widening with realization. Your address. Queens, Haleema said. Not Manhattan, not Brooklyn Heights. Queens, and my name, Haleema Morcos, not Emily Morrison. That's not... We don't discriminate based on... Don't you? Haleema's voice was calm, but steel ran through it. You hired 3 people for roles I applied for. I looked them up on LinkedIn. All Ivy League, all living in Manhattan or Westchester, all with names that sounded like they belonged on yacht club memberships. Mona set down the phone. I didn't personally review those applications. We have an HR system that filtered me out before anyone with decision-making power ever saw my name. Haleema leaned forward. Ms. Davis, I'm not angry. I'm just telling you the truth. The only reason I'm sitting in this office right now is because a billionaire from Dubai recognized my grandmother's name. If Hamza Jalal hadn't known Haleema Morcos, you would have let me deliver that pizza, collect my tip, and disappear. And your company would have collapsed. Mona was silent for a long moment. Outside, the sun was setting over the Hudson, painting the water gold. You're right, Mona finally said. You're absolutely right. And I'm sorry, not just for today, for every day we didn't see you. I don't need your apology, Haleema said. I need the job I should have had 2 years ago. I need the salary that reflects my worth, and I need you to fix whatever system made me invisible so it doesn't happen to the next person. Mona nodded slowly. Done. All of it. She extended her hand across the desk. Welcome to Harrison & Burke, Director Morcos. Haleema looked at the hand, at the manicured nails, at the watch that cost more than Haleema made in a year. She thought about her grandmother, who'd spent 40 years making people see others. She shook Mona's hand. Thank you, Haleema said. But I start tomorrow. Today I still have 3 more pizza deliveries to finish. I don't leave people waiting. Mona smiled, a real smile this time. That's exactly the kind of person I want running international communications. Haleema stood, slinging her thermal bag back over her shoulder. At the door, she paused. Ms. Davis, one more thing. Yes? The next time someone walks into this building wearing a uniform, maybe look at their face. You never know who you're talking to. She closed the door behind her, leaving Mona M. Davis alone with the truth. 3 weeks later, Haleema stood on the balcony of the Burj Khalifa, watching Dubai pulse with light beneath her. The city stretched out like a constellation, each tower a star, each street a river of gold. Behind her, through the glass walls of Hamza Jalal's penthouse office, executives laughed and toasted in 3 different languages. She was wearing a tailored navy suit now. The red uniform hung in her closet back in Queens, cleaned and folded, a reminder of who she'd been just 21 days ago. Her business card read, Director of International Communications, Harrison & Burke. Her salary had 6 figures. Her apartment, the new one in Manhattan, had floor-to-ceiling windows and a doorman who called her Ms. Morcos. She should have felt victorious. Instead, she felt hollow. You're not celebrating. Hamza's voice came from behind her. He stepped onto the balcony, 2 glasses of mint tea in his hands. This is your triumph. You should be inside, accepting their praise. Haleema took the tea. I keep thinking about her. Lina. She died 3 months ago in a 1-bedroom apartment that smelled like mildew. She died with $437 in her bank account. She died cleaning someone else's bathroom the week before she got sick. Haleema's voice cracked. And now I'm here, in Dubai, in a penthouse, drinking tea that probably costs more than she made in a day. Hamza was quiet for a moment. You think she would be sad? I think she would be proud, but I wish... Haleema stopped, tears burning her eyes. I wish she could see this. I wish she could know that everything she taught me mattered. That all those hours in her kitchen, all those grammar drills, all those stories about respect and adab, they weren't wasted. They weren't wasted, Hamza said gently. Look at what you've built in 3 weeks. You've negotiated 2 more contracts. You've opened doors to markets Harrison & Burke never dreamed of entering. You've made yourself indispensable. Because of her, Haleema said, because 40 years ago she saw a Lebanese family in a basement and decided they deserved kindness. Because she planted seeds in you. And now those seeds are feeding me. Hamza set down his tea and pulled out his phone. He showed Haleema a photo, black and white, slightly faded. A younger Hamza, maybe 8 years old, standing beside a woman in a modest hijab. Lena. Her grandmother's face, younger but unmistakable, smiling with that same quiet strength Haleema remembered. "I found this in my father's belongings after he died," Hamza said. "Your grandmother came to my 3rd grade graduation. We had no family there, no one to cheer for us. But Lina came. She brought a cake she baked herself. She told me I would do great things." He looked at Haleema. She was right. Haleema traced her finger over her grandmother's face in the photo. "Can I have a copy?" "It's yours. I've had it restored and framed. It's being delivered to your apartment tomorrow." Fresh tears spilled down Haleema's cheeks. "Thank you." "No, Haleema. Thank you." Hamza gestured to the city below. "Your grandmother taught me that success without generosity is just greed. So I'm doing what she would do. Next week we're announcing the Haleema Morcos Foundation. Full scholarships for immigrant children, free Arabic and English classes, job placement services, everything she gave us we're giving to others." Haleema's breath caught. "The Haleema Morcos Foundation? Your grandmother's name will be on schools, on community centers, on the lives of thousands of children who need someone to see them." Hamza smiled. "She won't be forgotten. Not while we live." Haleema looked out at Dubai again, at the impossible towers built by people who'd once been told nothing was possible, at the city that had welcomed her not because of her degree or her address, but because of her grandmother's legacy. "She died with nothing," Haleema whispered. "No," Hamza said firmly. "She died with everything that matters. She died knowing she'd raised a granddaughter who could speak truth to power. She died having planted seeds in people across decades and continents. She died rich in the only currency that outlasts money: love." Inside, someone called Haleema's name. Another contract to review, another deal to close. The life her grandmother had prepared her for, whether she'd known it or not. Haleema wiped her tears and straightened her suit. "I wish she could see this." "She can," Hamza said, looking up at the stars. "In every word you speak with adab, in every person you refuse to make invisible, in every door you hold open for someone still climbing, Lina sees all of it, through you." Haleema nodded, her throat too tight for words. She walked back inside to the celebration, carrying her grandmother's legacy like a crown. 3,000 miles away in Queens, a modest gravestone bore a name: Haleema Morcos, teacher, mother, light. But in Dubai, that name was becoming a foundation, a future, a promise that kindness compounds across time and no good deed ever truly dies. Haleema Morcos had made it, but she would spend the rest of her life making sure her grandmother's name made it too. Some endings are happy, some are tragic. This one was both. And somehow, that made it perfect. You just watched Haleema's story. But here's the truth that should keep you up tonight. Right now, there's someone in your life wearing a uniform, delivering your food, cleaning your office, serving your coffee, and you have no idea who they really are. That person might speak 4 languages. They might have a degree you'd respect if you knew about it. They might be one conversation away from changing your entire company or your entire life. But you'll never know, because you don't see them. Haleema's grandmother, Lina, died with $437 in her bank account after saving a family that became billionaires. She died invisible. She died cleaning toilets while her former students built empires. How many people have you made invisible this week? The delivery driver you didn't say thank you to. The janitor you walked past without making eye contact. The person in the wrong neighborhood whose resume you never opened. Here's what I need you to do. And I need you to do it today. If this story moved you, if it made you feel even a twinge of recognition or shame, then you owe it to Haleema and every person like her to do 3 things. 1, like this video. Not because I need the algorithm boost, but because every like tells YouTube to show this story to someone who needs to hear it, someone who's invisible right now, someone who's about to give up. 2, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because stories like this, stories that force us to confront who we've been ignoring, don't get told enough. And if you don't subscribe, you'll forget this feeling by tomorrow morning. 3, comment below with one person you're going to see differently tomorrow. The barista, the Uber driver, the receptionist. Write their name if you know it. Write, "I don't know their name yet." If you don't, hold yourself accountable. Because here's the brutal truth. Haleema Morcos saved a family and died alone. Haleema delivered pizza to a company that had rejected her 3 times. And somewhere right now, the person who could save your business, your project, your life, is being treated like furniture. Don't let that person be invisible to you. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Not for me. For every Haleema still wearing a red uniform, waiting for someone to finally see them. The question isn't whether you'll watch another video after this. The question is, will you be the person who finally sees?